Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me for Insights, the public affairs show brought to you by your Better Business Bureau. I'm your host, Katie Carroll. Coming up, there's a wonderful group in Colorado Springs called the Genny's Hope Foundation, and they're dedicated to providing services to they're dedicated to increasing the bone marrow donor registries. There's more than one for those who have blood cancers. Join me in just a moment as I speak with Ann Haehn to talk about this group's mission and find out how you might be able to help. And there are lots of ways you can help. I happen to know that personally. But first, remember you can get lots of great consumer and community-related information by watching our TV show, the BBBI. It airs on the Library District's channel, and that's Comcast Channel 17, and it airs about 30 times a month, which was quite a bit. It airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., and again on Saturday evenings at 6. You can also watch it on Vimeo or YouTube. You can get it on our website at southerncolorado.bbb.org, on their website at ppld.tv, so you can catch it whenever you feel like it. And this month's theme, December, is about remodeling your homes. A lot of people in this economy are deciding they're not going to sell their homes. They're just going to live there for the rest of their lives. So they're going to make it more beautiful and they're going to remodel it. Or others are putting money into their home in anticipation of when the market turns up. So it's an informative show, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So that's enough of that. Now, let's get to the business at hand. I'd like to welcome my guest, Ann Haehn, to Insights. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And tell us a little bit about how you got to Genny's Hope Foundation.
Well, I founded Genny's Hope Foundation this past summer.
Oh, so you're the founder.
I'm the founder.
I'm talking to the big kahuna.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I founded Genny's Hope Foundation this past summer. My daughter, Genny, whom the foundation is named after, has a very rare chronic leukemia called myelofibrosis.
Myelofibrosis?
Myelofibrosis.
Okay.
And there is no cure for Genny's leukemia. The only cure is a bone marrow transplant. And so when Genny was first diagnosed back in April, we went through a lot of analysis about what to do for her care.
Right.
And a lot of research, we discovered that a bone marrow transplant would actually cure Genny. So we started going down that path. And
by the way, how old is Genny?
Genny's 33 years old.
Okay. All right. Wow. You look too young to have somebody who... I was thinking she was like 8.
I looked younger a year ago.
I bet you did.
I've aged a lot the past year.
Well, I understand. And it's Genny. Her name is J-E...
No, it's G-E.
It's G-E.
And N-Y. It's her nickname for Genevieve.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, beautiful name,
King
isn't it?
Arthur's Court.
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
yeah.
So Genny with a G.
Genny with a G. And so...
So you decided to go down the path of bone marrow transplant.
Right. Okay. So we started researching the different facilities and the different doctors. And we went to Mayo Clinic, and we saw the experts there for Genny's disease. And we came back to Colorado, and we saw Dr. Brunvon, who is the head of the Unrelated Donor Transplant Center at St. Luke's Presbyterian in Denver. Mm-hmm. And through that process, Genny decided that she wanted to go forward with a bone marrow transplant.
Okay.
She has 2 young children that she wishes to finish raising. She's a young woman. She was not going to let this disease take her.
Right.
And
how did she find out she had it? What were some of the symptoms?
Oh, my gosh. She was very sick 5 years ago. She had some major blood clotting that occurred that it turns out that's related to a disease called Budd-Chiari, which she has, which is all tied in with these myeloproliferative neoplasms, and that's the family of cancer that Genny is in.
Okay.
And she's got the worst that you can have in the myeloproliferative neoplasms.
Okay.
There's 3 different diseases there. There's essential thrombocythemia, polyvary, and then myelofibrosis. And myelofibrosis is the one you don't want to get, which is what she has.
That's the one that she has.
Right.
And it's essentially a cancer of the blood?
It's a cancer of the blood.
Okay.
Essentially what happens is she overproduces platelets as well as white blood cells. And in that overproduction, her marrow itself starts to scar. That's where the fibrosis comes from.
Okay.
And so
And the marrow is the inside meat of the bones.
It
or the
is.
tissue
It's that
inside,
spongy tissue
the
inside
spongy
your bones
tissue inside the bones.
that produces all your blood cells.
Right.
And
that's a good point. Yeah, that's that's why marrow is so important.
Right, exactly. And so when we found out Genny was going to go down the path of a bone marrow transplant, we were told Genny had the antigens that actually gave her a high probability of finding a match on the registries.
What are the antigens? Are they genetic markers?
They're genetic markers that they match up on now. You're so smart, see?
I played one on TV. Okay. Okay, so they're genetic markers.
They're genetic markers that allow you to determine the probability of a match being successful when you do the bone marrow transplant.
Okay.
And Genny did not find a match in her family. And actually, 60% of the people will not find a match in their family. It's
that high.
Actually, it's 70%. I misquoted.
Okay. That's all right.
70% of the people will not find a match in their own family, and so they rely on unrelated donors to be a match.
Is one of the markers that it has to be the same kind of blood? Like if I'm an O?
No.
Okay.
Actually, Genny's donor is not her blood type.
Okay, she has a donor.
She has an identified donor.
Oh, that's
right.
fabulous. Okay, so we'll get to that part in a minute. So it was determined that she had the correct or the kind of antigens that would make her a more viable candidate for transplant, correct?
No, actually, it was that she had the right antigens that ensured that she would have a donor match.
Oh,
that there would be someone on the registry that would match
that's
her.
Even better. Okay.
Right.
Fabulous.
And so knowing this, and before we knew whether she had a match or not, I was on vacation in Florida with Genny and the children, and I was walking the beach and really fretting a lot about what was happening with her. And I really felt this higher power come over me. And I can't explain it. It was a very quiet presence. It wasn't earth-shattering or, I was just standing there looking at the waves and just felt this sense of peace.
Oh, wonderful. Like serenity, a sense of serenity.
Very much so. And a calling to get people on the registry to help others who don't have a match.
Right.
And I felt assured at that point in time, not even knowing yet, I felt assured that Genny would have a match, but that God was asking me to please get engaged and help get that registry increased so others could find a match. So I worked on a business plan and kicked it out in 24 hours while on the beach.
Wow.
I sent email to a group of friends that I knew that I handpicked for the foundation, that I knew would bring so much to the foundation. And every one of them answered the call.
Wow.
And
was my friend Genny McIntyre one of them?
Your friend Genny McIntyre was one of the first ones I sent email to.
Wonderful. And she is the director of development,
She's the director of business development.
Okay.
Genny is the one that goes out and does all the fundraising for us.
Wow.
She organizes the donor drives. She set up this radio interview
Exactly.
So
okay. So
we adore
just had to give her a little shout out to Genny.
Of course.
Okay. So these friends embraced your concept right away. And your goal was to get people to register or how do you say file or get on the donor registry.
Get on the donor registry.
Okay. And is it a big registry? And you say, I know there's more than one. And tell me about that.
There's two there's certainly more than two, but the two big ones are Be the Match, which is the U.S. donor registry.
I'm in that.
Oh, good for you.
I'm in Be the Match. And which, by the way, I have to say it was, I'm a blood donor or a tissue donor. I've given blood, but, I'm a tissue donor. I'm registered. It's not just on my license. But then I did the Be the Match, and it's very comprehensive. I mean, I was so nervous I wouldn't get it right that I had my friend who was a nurse do the swab inside my mouth, and then somebody said, you could have done it yourself, Katie.
It's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. I know, but I was like, oh my God, it's so scientific. What if I, wreck up? But it's fine, and I'm in the Be the Match registry.
I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's great that you're on that. That's the U.S. registry, and there's about 9 million people on the U.S. registry, and then there's about 5 million on the international registry.
Okay.
And the big registry is DKMS, which is I don't know exactly what it stands for. It's Deutsch something. It was
German?
formed by a young woman whose mother died of leukemia in Germany.
Okay.
And they've gone international now, and they've done a great job. And we're building partnerships with both Be the Match and
can I be
DKMS.
both? Why can't I be in both?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you go on, they search each other's databases.
Right.
So a donor coordinator will go out and look at all the registries.
Wonderful.
And their goal is to pull up the best match. And in fact, Genny's donor is from the international registry, not from the U.S. registry.
Okay. All right. Now, what's required for a bone marrow transplant, both of the recipient and the donor?
So let's talk about the donor first.
Okay,
because
let's do that.
There's lots of misperceptions out there about what it takes to be a bone marrow donor.
Yeah.
20 years ago, the way you participated in the program was you would have to go into the hospital, be admitted overnight, and they would actually extract marrow out of your hip. And
Right,
so it was
that's
a
what
surgical procedure, and you went under an anesthetic, and it was pretty invasive. Today...
And they put a big needle. I remember reading about that.
Right. I've seen those needles.
Yeah.
Those are the same needles they use when they do bone marrow biopsies on leukemia patients. So the leukemia patient goes through it numerous times.
Yeah.
Now they're able, 70% of the time, they're able to actually collect the stem cells from peripheral blood.
What does that mean, peripheral blood?
So just like you were going to go to a blood drive and give blood at a blood drive, it's very similar.
Get a little stick in your skin and a nice fat vein and get some blood?
A little bit more extensive than that, but yes, that's the general concept. It is a blood draw. You do have to go in and get shots to hyperproduce your stem cells. So you get shots for about 3 days in a row.
Okay.
Because they want a lot of those stem cells.
Okay.
So that they have more than enough to transplant into the patient.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. You go
That's
in,
it?
you get a couple of shots.
Those shots
It's not.
to do the production?
It's not. No, lot that's where a lot of the misperception is.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
It's not at all. The less than 5% of your stem cells are harvested. You might have kind of a fluey, achy feeling for a day or two afterwards, and your immune system is slightly suppressed. So if you get around someone with a cold, you could pick up the cold.
Just for a little while.
Just for a couple of weeks, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow, it's so simple.
It's very simple. And the initial screening process is very simple. It's a cheek swab, like you were mentioning.
Right.
It used to be that you had to go in and get your blood typed, but not anymore. They can do a DNA match, the initial match with a cheek swab.
Right. I know. I was so excited when I got the news. Oh, you can be in the registry. I was like, woohoo! And then I was like, I wasn't even actually that sure whether I had to have that hip shot or not, but I just thought, you know what, it's worth it. Because if you can save somebody's life and you have your body can do that for somebody, my gosh, why wouldn't you do it?
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a miracle, actually. So,
there's still, 30% of the time they still need the marrow directly from your hip bone.
Okay.
Because it depends on the type of leukemia the individual has, how sick they are.
Okay. And how advanced it is.
And how advanced the disease is.
You're put under probably a general local anesthesia, anesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you're out of the hospital within 24 hours.
No big deal.
But
to me,
really 70% of the time it's a blood draw.
Right. And even that other 30%, I've been in the hospital, for surgery gazillion times, and it's not that bad.
When you put it in comparison that you can save and you will save an individual's life if you are the match.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Given, one night of a hospital stay and you save somebody's life, I would choose to do that 100 times. I don't know if you're probably allowed to do it that
you're not.
much. But yeah, probably it's not safe.
But I don't think anybody's actually been matched 100 times either, so that would be remarkable.
Yeah.
But there have been people that have been matched twice.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually in contact with a gentleman who was a donor matched twice and went in twice.
Wow.
And
I really want
to do
I'm really excited. I want to be a match.
I hear that from a lot of people that are on the registry. I think what we have to do is help those who aren't on the registry understand that there's not that much of a barrier to getting on it.
That it's easy.
That it's easy to get on it. The challenge we have in the United States is that it's not funded by the government. So there is a lab processing fee associated with getting on the registry. And so Be the Match will ask you to please donate around $100 to register.
Okay.
And that's where our foundation comes in. We're trying to raise the money so that we can get young, healthy donors on the registry who don't have the money to pay that fee.
Right. Right, because $100 for some, especially right now,
is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So there's individuals out there who don't qualify to be on the registry, but have the funds, and they can participate by making a donation to help sponsor another individual getting on the registry.
Right.
We, in particularly, our foundation focuses primarily on colleges and universities.
Okay.
We want to go after the young people who have healthy marrow and who can be on the registry for 40 years. Now, this is typically the same demographic that can't pay the $100, right?
I was going to say this is the same group that can't pay.
Exactly. So that's why we're raising funds to sponsor them. So we ask people to sponsor a college student. And one college student getting on that registry could save a life.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
$100 could save a life.
And that's so, so easy, such an easy thing. And as you said, too, the longevity of them being in that donor base, the odds increase in them being able to be a viable donor.
Right.
As opposed to somebody my age. Well, I mean, I still think I probably have a good 40 years, but who knows? I just saw something on the news about reversing aging and we could live forever. I'm like, oh, no.
I don't think I want to.
Yeah,
but.
no. And not unless I have a great plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Precisely.
How do you go? Tell me more about your program to solicit funds, because you get no government funding, right?
We don't get any. We haven't gone after any grants yet because we are still filing for our 501c3.
Yeah, you're a baby.
We're a baby. We just started in June, but we've come so far.
Yeah.
So we are.
You're already on Insights.
We're already on Insights. I know. Next Oprah.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, this is the path to Oprah.
Will you help us open that door, Katie?
Sure. I'll give her a call.
Okay, do that for us, please.
Okay.
Well, we filed for our 501c3, and we were hoping to hear back this month. We keep being told soon. Mm-hmm. So it's just around the corner of getting granted. We are registered in the state of Colorado as a nonprofit, so individuals can make a donation to us, and they will get a tax credit recognition for it.
Good.
We have a tax ID.
Wonderful.
And we track all that, and we send them a tax letter back.
Great.
So individuals should feel free to donate to Genny's Hope Foundation. We can't go after the grants until we get the official 501c3 status. So we are planning to do that next year.
Okay, so you're just waiting for that.
We're just waiting for that to come through.
Yeah, and it's sort of a fait accompli. It's already done. I mean, it's a
all
done
the
deal.
filing's done.
Right.
It's sitting with the IRS right now.
Yeah, it's just in bureaucracy tied up.
They're not in any hurry to give corporations tax-free status, so we're kind of probably low on the priority list.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in government that are like just sort of caught up in the mishigas of getting things done. So where are you getting your funding now? I mean,
individuals, and it's by word of mouth.
It's just by word of mouth?
By word of mouth. We have a beautiful website that was designed by our head of marketing.
Who's that?
That's Joan Seavey.
Okay.
And Joan Seavey headed up marketing for IBM for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So she is top-notch. And you'll see that when you go out to our website. It's just beautifully designed.
And it's jennyhope.org?
It's www.jennyhope.org.
And there's no
S in it.
Right. It's GENNYHOPE.
That's right.
.org. It.
Okay. And you can donate online. We use PayPal, so
which
we're
is very secure. Mm-hmm.
Or you can email a check to our post office box.
Right, which is P.O. Box 64603, Colorado Springs 80962.
That's correct. And you can also get that post office box from
your
the website as well.
Okay. Now, do you have any events that are coming up to bring awareness to this cause and your mission?
We do. We have our first donor drive.
Okay.
Which is occurring February 4th.
Okay. Oh, good. So
February 4th. And it is with Genny's alma mater, the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs.
Okay. Wonderful.
And we are doing it
UCCS.
UCCS Blackout Night. when they will be playing both women's and men's basketball against the Pueblo University.
Why is it called Blackout Night? What's that? I don't get that.
They explained it to us, and it escapes me as to why it's Blackout Night.
I'm sure it'll be out when we get closer to the event. It'll be on your website. There'll be an explanation.
But you've given us something to go look for. To make sure
I
we
just found
explain
out why it's Blackout Night. But so it's February 4th. So that's like we have some time, and anybody can go.
Anybody can go, and I really want to give recognition at this moment in time to the UCCS sororities and fraternities who adopted Genny's Hope Foundation. So they are sponsoring
charitable cause,
right? As their charitable cause, and they are sponsoring the donor drive that night.
Do you want to name those?
Well, I don't have the list of all the sororities and fraternities.
A number of them, huh?
But it's all of them. All of the Greeks on campus.
Oh, that's amazing.
Have adopted us. There's about 200 of them.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
They're going to start promoting the event a week or two in advance. Jeannie McIntyre has been working very closely with them to kick this off. They're going to wear Genny Hope buttons. They're going to wear Genny Hope T-shirts. They're going to really get the word out. And we really think with the Greeks promoting this event and sponsoring it, we should have a good donor turnout drive.
Yeah, I think so, too. I was in a sorority in college at Virginia Tech, and we did a lot of things like that. And it was always really rewarding in knowing, you felt good about doing something positive instead of just going to parties.
Yeah. Well, this was really, our goal is to get all of the Colorado universities swabbed by the end of next year. So, we're working specifically with the university community. And it was very important to Genny that the first university be hers.
Yes, that makes sense. And now, who do you go to? The chancellor?
No, we worked. We worked
Director
with
of Student Affairs.
It was Amanda Kobach, if I am pronouncing her name correctly.
Okay,
and she is the one who has helped sponsor our relationship with the sororities and fraternities.
Okay, so if there are any college kids out there who want to participate, that go to other schools like CC or any of those, they can just call you.
Right. They can actually
go to your website.
They can locate us on our website. They can call Jeannie McIntyre directly.
Okay.
They can.
Do we have her number?
I will get it for
you.
Let's
get Jeannie's number.
We'll get Jeannie's number.
And I think that's going to be pretty easy since she's sitting right here.
Next to us.
So it really won't be that challenging. Here we go. Thank you, Jeannie.
So, Jeannie's phone number is 719-337-3727.
Okay.
And Jeannie's already in contact with CC. In fact, she's having a meeting this Thursday.
Great. Say that number
them.
one more time for us.
Okay, it's 719-337-3727.
Okay, perfect.
And you can also reach Jeannie on our website. She has an email address that you can find on the website as well. Okay,
great. So any college kids out there, I encourage you to call Jeannie or go to the website. And it's really simple. It's really very quick process, and then you find out whether or not you can be on the registry, right?
Right.
It's a yes or no. I don't know all the what the criteria are. But
you'll go through. There is a health screening checklist you fill out when you do the cheek swab,
right?
And the health check is basically looking for: have you ever had cancer before?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have high blood pressure, hypertension, and
by the way, don't rule yourself out. I had cancer in my 20s, and I made it.
Right. So, what they'll want to do is do a personal screening with you then.
Okay.
So what they'll do is a callback. Be the match when I say they. We'll do a callback to you if you've had any of that. So you're right. You don't want to rule yourself out for that.
Don't rule yourself out. And actually, I quit smoking about 5 months ago.
Oh,
and part of the reason, I haven't smoked all that. I've smoked less than I have been a smoker, but it's always been this lifelong struggle. And one thing, like when I feel like the urge to pick up, I'm like, oh, no, I can't hurt my marrow. I feel like it's precious now.
Do
you know what I mean?
Gold.
That I might be able to give it to somebody. I don't want to taint it. And it's so weird that I don't feel like that for myself, but I'm like, oh, what if a little girl or a little boy gets this and it's got nicotine in it? That'd be bad. So it's really a great incentive to be more healthy.
It is a good incentive to be more healthy. But good for you, too, that you quit smoking.
Oh, yeah.
There is one thing I want to bring up about the marrow matching. Mm-hmm. This is really important message to get out. I didn't realize this till Genny got sick, but you match within your own ethnicity.
Okay.
And so Caucasian will not be a match for an Asian, and Hispanic will not be a match for Caucasian, and vice versa.
All ethnicities
need to participate, and the ethnicity matches are really severely underrepresented. So we really need to get the word out there.
Okay, so all the minority groups that even some may not be so minority anymore, get out there, go to GennyHope.org and register to be a bone marrow donor.
Right.
All right. Ann Haehn, thank you so much for being our guest. See, I told you it'd go fast.
It did go fast.
Yeah. You guys, to learn more about today's program, you can call 719-422-6528, or again, visit the website at GennyHope.org. That's our show for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we want to thank the Gazette, who's an official sponsor of Insights. For all of us at the BBB, I'm Katie Carroll. Thank you so much for joining us on Insights. See you next week.